Welcome to Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of 16 NTC. That's the Nonprofit Technology Conference. We're at the Convention Center in San Jose, California. And with me now are John Haydon and Rachel Muir. John Haydon is the CEO, founder, he's the everything of Inbound Zombie. And Rachel Muir is Vice President of Training at Pursuant. Before we begin with John and Rachel, we have to do our swag item of the interview, which you may have noticed is a big green glass from Windstream, and inside is a charging box, so you can charge your USB device using, and then at the same time have your drink from Windstream. Rachel, would you add that to the swag pile, please?
Take the charger out before you drink.
Put it in the foreground of our swag pile, if you please.
All right.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Okay. All right. Rachel, John, your topic is how to boost revenue with donor surveys. I don't think people think of boosting revenue with donor surveys, but so let's dispel that misconception. John, how is it that donor surveys can be used to boost revenue?
Well, the idea is that the more you understand your donors, the more they're going to feel heard, right? And then the more that they're understood and they feel heard and they're connected with the organization, the more they're going to support the organization. So donor surveys are really about understanding people that support your organization.
So it's a part of a multi-channel engagement strategy?
Yes.
Could we say that it's fair to say, Rachel, this is one of our channels in our multi-channel strategy?
Absolutely. And it's a really great tool for understanding what your donors' interests are, so then you can target your appeals based on those interests. And you can talk to your donors about the one program that they care about and not the 9 programs that they don't care about.
Yeah, okay. I don't think many people are thinking about surveys as a channel. I think they're thinking about Twitter and Facebook and Instagram as their channels, not a survey. All right.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that surveys are a channel. I would say that surveys are almost like an approach, to serve, because you could survey people on Twitter, you could survey people on Facebook, you could survey people with a SurveyMonkey app, you can survey people in a number of ways. So it's more like, get feedback from donors,
An approach to a channel.
Yeah, exactly.
An approach to a channel, to a strategy for an engagement purpose.
Exactly, okay. Yes. I couldn't have said it better.
I couldn't have said it worse. Okay. All right, so let's dive into this. You have some eye candy examples. I feel like starting with the examples, because then you have some do's and don'ts, which we'll get to. But you have some examples to share of good donor survey practices, Rachel?
Sure, yeah. We shared a example of an online donor survey in our session, and it was a short 6-question survey that really focused on identifying, number one, what a donor's communication preferences are. How are we doing on communicating with you? Are we communicating too little, just right, too much? What are the beneficiary preferences the donor has? Who does the donor care about? Of all the target populations that the nonprofit serves, which one interests the donor the most? Some questions about what programs do they care about the most? These are just some great basic questions that you can use to ask your donors, and these are important because...
that was all done in 6 questions?
Yeah.
6 questions.
Pretty
Okay,
much.
okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead. You're all important because...
These are all really important questions because donors give for their reasons, not ours. And the more, and one of the points that John and I made in our session is, the more you find out, you got to ask. When you ask these questions, you've got to be prepared to use them, to use what you learn, and then honor your donors' preferences. If they tell you, I want to hear from you more, or I want to hear from you less, or I want to hear about this program, you've got to be prepared to be able to deliver on that so that you're honoring their preferences. You've taken the time to find out, and your next step is going to deliver on it.
Okay, so we've got to preserve these responses, not just use them to analyze the survey and then not use them anymore.
Yeah, we got to make good on it.
Yeah.
And that's what we want, too, because we want to be talking to them about what they care about. The more we talk to them about what they care about, the more they're going to give, the longer they're going to stay with us.
Right, John, otherwise these people are going to feel unheard.
Oh, yeah,
What was
totally.
the purpose of surveying me if you're not going to honor what I asked you to do?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
You got another eye candy example for us, John?
Eye candy example.
I'm only quoting from your
Sure.
text here, so Is this text bona fide? I presume
It's,
it is.
it's somebody else wrote it. I don't know who wrote
No,
that.
no, I doubt that. Okay, no. You have no interns to blame. Look, I'm too exuberant. Okay. You got some other examples? Eye candy or otherwise?
Gosh,
Good survey examples? No?
let's see. We shared another video example of using video.
Oh, yeah, the
as
video
a tool.
one. Yes,
John,
I'm sorry.
John, were you in this session?
I was definitely in this
You're gonna be
session, yes, I was.
You did present with us.
I did present,
Okay,
yes, I
okay.
did.
Go ahead, Rachel, why don't you continue?
Yeah, so we shared a great example of using video to really take the donor right into the action, take them right there in the field, allow them to really give them an immersive experience where they can experience the donor's work, and then use that to open up a conversation with them. We'd love to talk to you. We want to learn more about what inspired you to give. We'd love to talk to you about what we're doing. We want to do so respectfully. If you'd like to hear from us, just click this button and we'll set up a visit. So it's a great way to have your donor raise their hand on their own and find out who wants to have a deeper relationship with you.
Yes, okay. Say a little more about what was the content of that video.
The video example that we shared was a great video for Operation Smile, and it really took the viewer firsthand into the operating room, seeing these surgeries and seeing how correcting these cleft palates surgeries, how they impacted these families and these communities. And they heard stories from the program officers, they heard stories from donors. From doctors, from the founder of the organization. And the founder of the organization has a very respectful call to action at the end where he says, we'd love to hear from you. We want to do so respectfully. We'd love to hear your hopes. We'd love to hear your wishes. If you'd like for us to call you and set up a visit, just click this button. So it's a really nice way, using the email sends the donor to a landing page with a personalized URL so they can track if the donor watches the video, how long they watch it for, and then invite the donor to respond and raise their hand if they'd like to have a visit. So it's another tool to learn more about a donor's interest and hopefully set up a visit.
Yeah, okay. John, I'll give you a chance to rehabilitate since you fell flat on.
I was just there for my looks, and that's it.
You could say what not to ask.
No, yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel.
I was going to get to do's and don'ts. Thank you, Rachel.
There you go.
Yeah. Rachel, I'll tell you,
Moderator.
while I'm talking to John, do you want to script something, bullet points?
Yeah, there you go. That would help,
too?
actually.
Okay.
You want the
You could
slides,
write that
John?
down. Yeah.
No, don't. No, I prohibit those. Okay, let's move to do's and don'ts.
Yes, do's and don'ts.
Okay.
Don't
Don't.
ask them how much they recently gave. Don't ask them what they gave. And these are no-nos because you should know this
You should know this
information,
already, right?
So if
Yeah.
you ask them that right away out of the gate, they say, "Wow."
But what if it's an anonymous survey, or we don't like anonymous surveys? Oh no, we can't because we're supposed to be honoring preferences. So we're not. So from the gate, we're not talking about anonymous surveys.
No.
here.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so we're again, the purpose of the survey is to understand the donors. So we're collecting this information, putting into the donor database so that we can follow up with appropriate communication. So if someone says, "Hey, I like cats versus dogs for an animal shelter," they're going to get communication that's about dogs. Here are all the dogs that we're saving, and here's what you can do to help change the life in a dog.
Right.
So that's really the purpose, is to try and tailor the communication and connect have the donor have a voice in the cause.
Okay, understand. Rachel's getting the pen out of the swag out. The chili pen. No, that's okay. No, I mean, John is squeezing the eggplant stress ball.
I'm a little nervous, yeah.
That's okay. Rachel's got the tomato, but I know she's not stressed. Well, you're nervous because you're doing so badly.
I know, I'm doing horrible.
Rachel's holding a tomato, but she's not squeezing it because she's excelling. Rachel, you got some do's or don'ts? Let's
Yeah,
do the
I would
don'ts.
say, okay,
Don'ts.
here's some more.
Let's stick with the
Well,
don'ts.
I was going to give you some do's.
No, can we stick with the don'ts? I don't want to do's and don'ts. Back and forth.
Don't use complicated PhD level language.
Try to stay a little closer to the mic.
Don't use complicated
There
language.
you are.
Keep it short, keep it simple, 6th grade reading level.
Literally 6th grade reading level?
Yes.
You want it to be, don't have it be all text. Use highly visualized examples that fit in with the organization's mission. Think of a BuzzFeed style quiz that you might take on Facebook, like what 80s band am I? Duran Duran, Psychedelic Furs, The Cures. You just see the images and you know how you're going to vote. You barely even have to read the text. You want to make it as easy for them to read, as easy for them to do as possible.
Okay, really 6th grade level. Wow, all right. Any other don'ts? Either of you? I'll open it up to John. Give it a shot.
Don't send people to a website that looks horrible on a mobile device, where they have to zoom in and look at the survey in order to fill it out. Don't ask people 20 questions. Be very careful what you're asking, and the number of questions.
So we know 20 is too long?
20 is way too long.
Is there a range?
I'd say 5 or 6. If you're doing a survey to your whole group, just keep it short and simple, 5 or 6. Yeah.
Okay.
And I would say don't skimp on the subject line. Put as much thought into the subject line as you do your survey questions so that you get people to open it.
We're talking about the subject line of the invitation email.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Put a lot of thought into maybe A/B test your subject line.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
just so easy to do now. We all should be testing. Yeah.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I say A/B testing is it's like letting your donors vote on the subject line that they like the best, and then using that to send out to all the other people. It's basically, having them help you write the email.
Yes. Okay. Okay.
That was a good one. Good response. Good
Trying hard.
response.
He's trying hard. I dogged him in the beginning, and he's
I know,
trying
I'm
hard to
catching
check
up,
himself out.
catching up.
Rehabilitate. Rachel worked at rehabilitate. It's like coming out of prison. You're a recidivist.
Seriously,
You got a serious recidivism
Damn.
problem.
Man, you're like a parole officer. You're like the worst parole officer.
You're much better. I don't know. You're much better in one dimension than in person.
I'm much better on Twitter.
Much better on Facebook. Oh my God! No wonder we've never met.
Sad trombone.
Seriously,
I thought I was
today.
inviting you. All this time I've been holding you at bay.
Yeah.
You're on play.
Exactly,
I thought I was being
exactly.
welcoming, but I probably was not.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm being harsh. No, I'm not,
No, it's great, man.
You're a good sport.
I'm a good sport.
I know.
Absolutely. You can beat the crap out of you later on.
That's as far as you can go. I have AM and FM affiliate stations. Don't get me in trouble with my affiliates.
I will not.
Okay. All right. We've exhausted don'ts. Let's focus on the positive.
Yes.
Do. All right. Well, Rachel, you hit some of that. Do, make it simple, very visual, right? Visual. Other do's, other good practices.
I would say try to integrate serving your donors in multiple avenues. You can send them a donor survey, you can ask them questions after they, we talked about having just a comment box, what inspired you to make this gift on your donation form, after they get your newsletter, after an event, after a gala. There are multiple touch points where you can solicit feedback from your donors. There's a reason why I can't go to Old Navy to buy something for my twins without me getting a survey about the experience, and satisfaction is the number one driver of donor loyalty. So think of other ways that you can solicit your donors' feedback.
Okay.
We also talked about donor circles, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So when you think surveys, right, you think, oh, the internet, we got to use a website and all that stuff. But donor circles is kind of old school. You get 5 or 6 donors in a room, very kind of, I guess, committed, long-term donors. Maybe, from different, maybe a volunteer, maybe a donor.
Can this be a virtual room?
It can be, a real in-person room.
It has to be an
Yes.
in-person room? You
Yes.
prefer in-person?
You meet them in person and you ask them questions. What made you decide to initially support the organization? What kind of stories really get you amped up? Why do you continue to support the organization? And just have that open dialogue in the small group. And I think often that dialogue can be the kind of source to create the online survey. Because then we know, when you start with an online survey, you might be asking, what do we even start with? But maybe the donor circle is a good place to start. Find out what are the key kind of issues or what are the key preferences, and then suss that out throughout the database. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there certain groups of donors that are better to try to engage in a survey than others, like sustainers versus strictly annual donors, or planned giving donors versus others? Any distinctions across types of donors that we're talking with or dealing with, or no?
That's a great question. I would say
Okay.
surveys are really great for all your donors, and it's an opportunity for you to be able to identify who your sustainer prospects are and who plan giving prospects are, and really move those people from the annual fund up because you cared enough to learn about what they care about, and you're going to deliver on it. So you've increased your chances of deepening that relationship and deepening their involvement with the organization by asking them the survey, because donors give for their reasons, not ours, and it's up to us to figure out what they are.
Okay, so
I see a lot of fundraisers really trying to read their donors' minds and wasting a lot of time. And I like to say, ask more questions, read less minds. There's so many. It's totally appropriate to say, how do you like to be invited to make a gift? That's a very respectful way to find out more about how someone does like to be invited to make a gift. And these are all, you don't have to try to read their minds. You can ask them these questions and learn a lot and build a relationship in the process.
those I can think of two. The one you suggested. How do you like to be asked, and how often? How often should we be approaching you? Is 2 to 3 times per year appropriate? Is 5 times? 1 time?
That's a great example. We actually talked about that. You're giving donors choice when you do that, and that's giving them control. And that's a really big part of them deepening their engagement with you. They want to have that control. We've got one study where an organization raised 50% more at their year-end appeal because they gave those donors those choices. When do you want to hear from us? When do you want us to ask? How often do you want us to ask? They first proved the value of their communications, and that's something I would caution anyone to first do. If the first time you make a gift, if I ask you how often you want to hear from me, you might say not very much because you don't know me yet. But once I've proven the value of the communications, and you do know, and the donor does know the organization, it's really great to ask those questions. So that's a really great point that you made.
All right, good. Thank you. All right, I scored one in 16 minutes and 40 seconds. All right, John, you want a chance?
A chance at what?
Score a point.
Okay, ask me a question.
No,
Go for it.
we're still talking about dues. Good
Good dues.
Yeah, good. Industry standard.
Yeah. So keep the language simple, very simple, and use their words. Right. Don't use any jargon that you might throw around in the internal meetings. Use their words, and focus a lot on visuals. Actually, visuals draw people in. The video is a great example. And actually, that video is very powerful because, and the organization was
Smile Train.
Smile Train, yeah, exactly.
No, it was Operation Smile.
Operation Smile, yeah. And it was great. I mean, when the video was playing during our session, I had tears in my eyes. And wow, so that emotion drives the person to take action, right? So at the end, hey, tell us what we can do, or contact us. We want to take the next step with you. That person's probably more likely to take that action because of that emotion, right? So I think that's really key, is to focus on drawing people in emotionally, and appeal to that, because that's going to drive the action. And
there's something like logic drives a conclusion. So a logical solicitation or logical appeal drives a conclusion. An emotional appeal drives a response, an action.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's great.
In this case,
you earned 10 points
action.
for that. I love it. That one's brilliant.
All right. No one gave you the authority to assess points. Right? There's a host here. There's a host here. Have you seen the signs? Have you seen the signs?
Yes.
Okay.
Tony Martignetti.
Okay.
I see it.
He's putting you in his place.
I'm being put in my space again.
I think I'm being harsh. I think I'm gone overboard.
Schooling John Haydon.
He may never come back. Although I've never invited him before. So.
Yep. People will Google me at least. Who is this guy, John Haydon? He's having a total failure on this video show.
Up.
You don't even mention it in the credential here that you're co-author of Facebook for Dummies.
Exactly.
Right?
Facebook Marketing for Dummies.
Facebook Marketing
Proof
for Dummies.
that I am a dummy. Proof. Facebook Marketing for Dummies.
Okay. He doesn't take himself too seriously, and I know.
Not at all.
Okay. Secrets your favorite for-profit brands use to build loyalty. Let's start revealing some of these for-profit secrets.
Well, they ask. I mean, you can't hardly buy anything or do anything without being asked about your experience, right? I mentioned like the survey. How were the dressing rooms? How was the lighting? And they, the best time to build on a great experience or fix a negative one is in the moment that it happened. And that's why surveys are so great. If you ask people honestly, you get a chance to interact in that experience before that donor becomes a lapsed donor. And that's why it's great to be soliciting feedback often. Often
and immediate.
Yeah.
Depending on the engagement, right? Depending on what that engagement was. Okay. Okay, that's a good one.
Yep.
What else?
Yeah, and actually, someone has a bad experience. They might. One question we asked was, "Have you ever had a bad haircut?" So you're not going to tell your hair, and I don't know if I have a bad haircut or not. Probably not right now. But if you have a bad haircut, apparently, according to people I know, if you have a bad haircut, you're going to tell all your friends, whatever you do, don't go to the hairdresser. But you're not going to tell the hairdresser, right? So it's important to listen and follow up, but just being heard can often turn things around. And I think what did we refer to, the recovery paradox?
This is known in the for-profit sector as the service recovery paradox.
Yep.
Share
Service
it.
recovery.
What is it?
So it says that if you do something really awful, and if someone has an awful customer experience, if they feel heard, they are more likely to support you or
Be more loyal.
They're going to be more loyal
than if they never had a complaint in the first place.
And you don't even have to fix the problem. That's the good thing.
You just have to listen to it.
Yeah.
Really?
That's why it's a paradox. Like you would think, if someone has something negative to say about your, organization or your business, you have to fix it. Oh, we got to change this. But not necessarily. You have to listen. Some things you obviously can't change, right? But just giving that person the opportunity to say how they feel and be heard, then they say, wow, of all the brands, of all the retailers, of all the nonprofits I support, I feel heard by these guys. Now, they're not doing everything I like, but I really like them. So that loyalty increases.
Versus the defensive, and blaming the victim response to service.
Yeah, exactly. And again, the bad haircut, right? So if you don't listen to them, that person's out there on the street telling their friends, hey, whatever you do, don't support these guys because they're kind of, not only did they do it wrong, but they didn't even want to hear what I had to say, right? Also, you don't want that on the street.
Your customer donor is taking the time to share. They're opening up to you. If they didn't care about you, they wouldn't bother. They wouldn't waste. In their mind, they wouldn't waste their time sharing this bad information. They would just write you off.
Yeah.
This person cares enough to tell you, and if
Absolutely.
they feel heard, that will increases their loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
That's the paradox.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. We got a couple more minutes together. What else? What else can we? Do you have to depart, Rachel? It's okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it silently. I'm going to turn off your mic so you don't make a lot of noise. You don't have to worry about making a lot of noise.
It was super fun hanging
Bye,
out with
Rachel.
you. Bye, thank
Have a safe
you.
flight.
Okay, now you're going to leave me with the
Whip him into shape,
the lackluster.
Tony.
Okay. Bye. That's
There we go. All right, let's finish this up, Tony.
That's Rachel Muir, Vice President of Training at Pursuant. Thank you, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
Okay, John.
Okay.
Hayden. All right.
Great.
So
Have at it.
I hope not. I just said we have a couple more minutes left, so don't disappoint me.
Oh, good.
Okay. What else? What else is going to be covered in this topic, or what else was covered in this?
Well, I think
this workshop that we haven't talked about yet?
the thing that we try to impress people with is that a donor survey is not just a survey that you do once a year, once a quarter, but it's almost like a mindset of creating every opportunity to follow up with the donor and listen to them. So, for example, we talked about when someone makes a first-time donation, right? That's a big deal. That's a pretty big deal. Hey, wow, you gave us money.
New donor.
Why did what made you decide to do that? Someone gives a second time, right? If they give once, that's great. But if they give a second time, it's almost a miracle. So, wow, what are we doing that drove you back to us twice?
Let me
right?
just reinforce how much of a miracle that is, because we have a 70% donor attrition problem across nonprofits in the U.S.
Absolutely.
We're losing 70% of our donors each year.
Yep.
So it's quite a big deal when somebody gives you that second gift.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And then of course, monthly, right? If someone says, hey, I gave once or twice here and there, but now I want to commit to a monthly program, right? I want to commit to that. Wow, you did that.
Another big step.
Yeah. So obviously these survey questions are going to be different for each of those situations, right? And then also, even on a donation form, having, like Rachel said, an open box that said, if you want to, if you have anything to tell us, anything you want to share with us about why you're supporting us, just type it in right here. Just having this attitude of having an ear and being open to listening to people and giving people opportunities to share how they feel. Even on, I wrote Facebook Marketing for Dummies, and I'm always telling people, yes, there's Facebook Insights. You can look at all the data, but read the comments on the posts, right? That's where you get all this really incredible personal stories, people sharing personal stories, what they think about certain issues, and also you learn their language, right? How are they talking about the cause? We think, we talk about as a communications person at a nonprofit, sometimes they get caught into jargon or talking about a cause in a certain way or thinking they have to educate donors. But, by reading comments and really listening to the donors, you kind of understand their language, how they're talking about it, using their words,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, John.
All right. Was that...
That's a great wrap.
All right.
And because I was so harsh to you,
Yes.
I'm going to give you a shout out. You should be following John Haydon on Twitter. He's at John Haydon because he is very good. He does have a lot of good content, and it's not only about Facebook.
Email,
you do your
anything.
share of Click Candy, 5 tips, I think you're sort of known for 5 of these, 7 of these.
Yep.
But
yep.
you go
Quick tips, very tactical.
Right. So there's that value.
Yep.
But you also go deeper too.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
So-
and I've weekly webinars I do, free webinars. I call it the Hump Day Coffee Break, and it's just, people show up.
Okay.
Wednesdays 11 and, have a cup of coffee, learn something, and leave, and that's it.
All right.
So, yeah.
So I feel like I owed you that. So
Great.
happy to let you have it.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I really do appreciate it.
You're
And it
very
was fun. I have very thick skin, so I had a great time, honestly.
Okay. Tell your friends about Nonprofit Radio. I don't know if
I
you tell your
do.
clients.
I do. I tweet about it.
I know you
I
retweet.
tweet about
Okay,
it. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
And yeah.
John Haydon. He's everything around inbound zombie. They do marketing consulting.
Exactly. Thank you, Tony.
Okay. And you are listening and viewing Tony Martignetti Nonprofit Radio coverage of 16 NTC, the Nonprofit Technology Conference. We're wrapping day 1 with John Haydon and Rachel Muir, but we'll be back on day 2, of course, and then day 3. So stay with us.